I've never seen an anime that becomes a deconstruction, reconstruction, shameless ripoff, blatant homage, and intentional parody of the superhero genre, monster genre, and Power Rangers all at the same time. Well, we have Samurai Flamenco, an anime that first starts off as a deconstruction, and then superhero parody, and then blatant homage, shameless ripoff, and setting its own universe to play most of its tropes straight, and then Power Rangers, and then whatever the ending is supposed to be. Samurai Flamenco is the story of Masayoshi Hazama, a rich-ass supermodel that is determined to become a superhero, except he's in a real world which doesn't really have superheroes. Sound familiar? The real story begins when Hazama as a superhero, or at least superhero early access, encounters Goto, a police officer who is the straight man trying to control this idealistic and maybe perhaps not so normal person. Can Hazama become the superhero that he really dreams of, or is this real world too harsh of a place for him to live, so much that he needs to put his idealism back and grow up and mature? Just listening to the plot rings the bell of the movie from 2010 with a similar premise called Kick-Ass, and you'd be right if you assume that this is the case. This is essentially the premise of Kick-Ass, except in an anime form. However, I didn't reference Power Rangers without a good reason. This anime shifts from being a Kick-Ass ripoff subsequently into Kamen Rider, and then Power Rangers, and then Captain America the Winter Soldier, no seriously, and then... yeah, I'll talk about that later. I gotta say, as someone who grows up with these sorts of Japanese superhero stories, I am totally on board with this, and as a deconstruction of the usual Power Ranger tropes, Flamenco is freaking brilliant. As its own story? Well, Flamenco shares a lot of similarities to another anime that becomes a parody of the superhero genre, and that is One Punch Man. The one problem that Flamenco has is also the problem that I have with One Punch Man, that I probably mentioned in my One Punch Man review. If you strip the satire elements out, what's left of an anime should be a good anime that can stand on its own universe without the needs of parodying or satirizing the things that it wants to satirize. The problem? One Punch Man plays a lot of its tropes completely straight in the second half, while Flamenco does this after 6 episodes in. It's not that I have problems with parody playing their tropes straight, it's just that if you're not creative and inventive enough, you'll end up creating a universe that is chock full of characters and settings that are nothing but parody versions of other characters and setting. This is a problem because when you're parodying your character tropes, you're not giving the story the same treatment, which causes the glaring flaws of the characters to be incredibly noticeable because you didn't set them in a parody story. This is my problem with both One Punch Man and Samurai Flamenco. When they're playing their tropes straight, they become nothing but a blatant ripoff of what they're trying to parody. Thankfully, Flamenco is not One Punch Man. In fact, in just 12 episodes, it managed to make it a significantly better anime than One Punch Man did. Unlike Saitama, Hazama is a surprisingly relatable guy. He's a freak, sure, but at least I know exactly what he wants, and I want him to get to whatever he wants. And not only that, he's passionate and are willing to do anything to achieve his goal. This is a character that I can personally relate to. I also love the surprisingly dramatic touch that this anime has. While being a deconstruction parody of the Japanese superhero genre in and of itself, it also plays quite well on the drama. When you have One Punch Man, in which characters are nothing but stereotypes without any sort of depth or even screen time irrelevance, in this anime we do have characters that have more depths beyond their personality traits, which makes the drama to be a lot more convincing. There are stereotype characters, sure, but even then, they still play the dramatic moments very well. The first half is actually pretty damn good. It serves as quite the deconstruction of what would happen if someone becomes a superhero like in Kick-Ass. That mid-season battle is pretty freaking intense as well. And then you have the second half, which is not only a brilliant deconstruction of the superhero tropes from all regions, but even takes some elements from the amazing Captain America the Winter Soldier. And then you have the final arc. It's bad. It's like really bad. What I hate about the ending of the anime is that throughout the episodes, there are new character plot points introduced, but they concluded in the most retarded of fashion. Actually, conclude is too kind of a word, because they concluded jack. None of the plot points introduced are completely resolved, and it feels like the production team just said, screw it, and just strip Hazama naked and introduce homoerotic tension. No, seriously, that's the ending. If you look at Samurai Flamenco as a parody of the Western superhero genre, it might come off as a little bit off and missing the actual target. However, if you look at it as a deconstruction of Japanese superhero shows, it really pays off well. This anime plays with most of the usual superhero tropes while somehow still able to create its own original story with a great balance between lighthearted comedy and drama. However, that ending... yeah, it's pretty horrible. I give this anime 3 stars out of 5. It's a ton of fun and I enjoy it, but I guess it's mostly because I grew up with those Japanese superhero works. Give it a watch if you have some spare time. Be ready to be disappointed though, because the ending is kinda meh. So that's all for the review today. If you like this, you can go ahead and click the like button and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.